Hello and welcome to the stream. Let me know if you can hear me properly and I'll try and sort the video in a second. I apologise if it's choppy for you. Yeah, welcome back to OAC. It's been a good week or so, a couple of weeks since we've been racing, and as the year comes to a close, we've got a couple more races lined up here, but one of them today, the biggest one out of all of them, is the Season 2 pre-season race at Hungaroring. Now, this race will be 90 minutes long, and we have multi-class, so we have GT3s and LMP2s. Now, I'm unfortunately unable to get the leaderboard, which can show different classes, so you have to bear with me on them. The ones that are faster than the GT3s will be the ones that are slower. So, it seems okay, I believe. So I think we should leave the stream. I will be making an announcement to our drivers. Very quickly now. So they have 15 minutes of qualifying. So they can keep setting laps for the next 2 minutes, and then our LMP2s will be sent out, which will be very exciting, I believe. Now, apologies for the video. I'm unable to set it up as we've started the stream. However, as long as you can see the information that matters the most. Oh dear, that was a questionable rejoin. Anyhow, let me know if the stream looks okay and how you guys are doing today. It's been a while, a couple of weeks since we've finished the minis, and I apologise for yet again for the frames per second that we are getting on the stream currently. It will be fixed by next stream. I'm unsure of when next stream will be, but I know for a fact that it will be fixed. So quali is not finished. Quali's not yet. Our drivers have 40 seconds or so left of their GT3 qualifying, and then so it is quali, but this GT3 quali will have few seconds left of this as I send an alert message to our drivers requesting the GT3s to return to pits, otherwise could cause issues. And we are back, I think. Hello. Hopefully the stream's working. Let's get this working. Let's have a look. I think it's working. Yes, it is. Okay, great. Apologise for that. Had a bit of an issue with my internet, but we're back. Okay, this shouldn't happen again. I apologise. Anyways, we are back as qualifying ends. Let me just quickly change this. So, we have our GT3 LMP2s out at the moment, I think. Yep. As they go for their last lap here. Okay. Apologies, I'll be right back here. I will not be going anywhere, just... And I'm back. Let me just quickly close a couple of things that may be causing my performance to be less. Let's close these. We should be good. So, here we go. Dante Spappen in his special livery, number 59, Orica LMP2, as he slides through there. Let me just fix the audio settings so you can hear the car. Oops. Okay, so we now have a 1minute and 20-second countdown before the race begins. That should be interesting. We are back though, and that's, yep, slightly bumpy, but let's see who we have on the grid today. So we have 20 drivers. It's 21 drivers actually. So we have on the not sure what's happening there. Okay. Cruel Asteroid, Lance Simmons, Dante Spappen, Flo Maito, Darren Egan, Antonio Benitez, Max Halsey, Testori Tiberio, Nando Norris, Noah Ferrone, Alex Tapai, NS Jumen, George Given, Victor Bosniak, Jensen Goldstein, Iconic, Dimitar. Iconic seems to have left. George has also seemed to have left. Dimitar and Gabriel Churgan. So that there are 21 drivers. Actually, no, 20 drivers. So let me just go back to the pits. I'm not sure if I'm able to do that currently. Do I have drivers behind me? Okay. Let me just go back to pits. I must be able to. Okay. So, fuel my lights till the lights go out. Lights out, and away we go. So, in first we have Cruel Asteroid in the LMP2, followed by what looks to be Lance Simmons in second, Dante Spappen in third, Antonio Benitez as he goes down the inside of Dante. Hits Dante, goes off. That looks like it'll be a penalty for him, as multiple drivers go past. Let's see if Dante can make back a few positions there, but he was unfortunately it doesn't. I don't think that was Dante. I think that must have been another driver. That was interesting. But we have Dante Spappen in second, as he's making a quite a gap between him and Antonio Benitez here, as they all maintain their grip on the track. As we come up in turn 9 and turn 10 here, this track, these corners are very interesting because if cut, we will be issuing penalties for these drivers. Let's see here if they're cutting the penalties, cutting the corners. Let's have a look. Let's see. By the looks of it, we haven't had too many people cut, but that's not an issue because we are more focused about Our driver's staying on the track instead of cutting corners at the moment. So let's have a look. Lance Simmons still in first. Dante Spapen in second. Flo Maito up in third. So I'm guessing Cruel Asteroid was the one that got hit out in the collision there. Interesting first part of the race, though. Definitely. George is having track issues, unfortunately. Will we be able to join back in time? I think he has. Yes, he has. George given in ninth. Slight damage to his front bumper there. Not an issue, as Lance Simmons and Dante Spapen don't have much of a gap between them. This is going to be very interesting. Let's see if Dante can overtake Lance Simmons in these corners. As Dante has a much better exit out there, but does he have more speed? Can he take first position? Let's find out. These cars are very slippery when it comes to using these curbs on this specific track. This is Fenir's version of Hungaroring for free on Patreon. But this is an excellent version of the track because it incorporates the runoff parts, which most tracks do not offer. Now let's see if these drivers will be cutting the chicanes. So Testori, Tiberio and Halsey will not be cutting the chicanes. George, Nando Norris, they're not cutting the chicanes either. Supernova in the LMP2 in 11th position. NS in the BMW. Let's see. Doesn't look like any of them cutting. Oh dear, Max has gone into the back of Dimitar Dimitrov in there in the BMW M4 GT3 there. Let's find out how Lance and Dante are doing. So they are still quite close, but Dante seems to have a better form when it comes to braking in turn 1. Now let's have a look. As he makes a little bit of time up and gets right on his bumper, can he make the overtake on this lap? Let's find out. He is getting slightly closer. It's always something nice to see. Apologies, let's do that quickly. And gap. Okay. So now we can actually see the gap between them. So Dante Spapen is 1.2 seconds behind Lance Simmons in the LMP2 there, with Flo Maito at 3 seconds behind them. So, Dante Spapen and Lance Simmons closing the gap slightly, with a 0.6 second gap between them as they make their way through the technical section of the chicane part. But keeping it together, that's what we like to see. Now, how are our drivers doing? So, Supernova gone off in the LMP2. He is having a hard time getting up the field against GT3 cars, which is something interesting we've never really seen, but also there was an open entry for these LMP2s, which may be something we need to change in the future, because this could be an issue, especially when slightly less skilled drivers have the opportunity to take these faster cars, especially when they're locking up in every single corner, causing flat spots to their tyres and cutting the chicane, which should not be allowed. But we shall have to have a look into it after the the race here. 1 hour and 24 minutes remaining left of the race. Dante Spapen and Lance Simmons still fighting for first position. Flo Maito and Darren are quite far apart from each other, but for the majority of the grid, it appears the GT3s have made quite a substantial margin between themselves. Now, for the part that we were most looking forward to is, did we get anybody cut this part? As our drivers come here, nope, the LMP2s are safe. How are the GT3s doing? Especially through this section here. This part is a difficult one as they go off. Could possibly have some... Yeah, so going wide here will not give you a penalty. However, going extremely wide and rejoining the track and gaining the advantage will. So there's definitely a fine line between should I and should I not do this. Goes for any track really, but this one's more important because of the severely large runoff spots of the track. Could definitely raise some suspicions and raise some eyebrows regarding track limits, especially the parts that are very technical, such as this one here, right before the last corner. Last corner's a very interesting one, especially in the GT3 and LMP2s, is if you do not exit correctly, you will go too shallow into the corner and lose time, just like Antonio Benitez has just done. But he doesn't have to worry about anybody in front of him or behind him, because he is quite far away from the GT3s, and in fact is what it looks to be second to last in the LMP2 category. Now, unfortunately, we may have to be giving out penalties for some of our drivers in regards to the chicane, but if they manage to not cut the chicane, should save the steward's time and both. Oh, and he almost goes into the back of George Given there in that number 31 BMW. He should not be driving this car. It's rather dangerous, especially when he is going like that. Faster down the straights, but marginally slower in the corners, which can cause an accident, as we almost saw with Alex Tupai and, respectively, always locking up on this corner, which is not very good, especially flat spotting his tyres. That's going to play a big issue when it comes to conserving those tyres. All of our drivers have to pit once for fuel and tyres, and it's gone off straight back onto the racing line. Luckily, no one was on their way into the corner there, but appears to be having some issues regarding suspension. And can he keep it straight? Cuts the corner completely. Goes extremely wide there, so I'm guessing his tyres are either really warm or he has completely flat spotted them to the point where they don't have any grip anymore. Could also be a possibility. However, we see Lance Simmons and Dante Spapen not backing down from each other, and they are still fighting for that first position. Dante's trying to get that first position, obviously, off Lance Simmons, but let's see if Dante's able to succeed, whether in getting that position or not. Now, I'm fairly sure we are going to see something very interesting happen later on in the race, especially when they start have to think about pitting, which I may make a announcement in the race regarding being pitting, which people may possibly be unaware of. And yeah, so as we've seen, very close. Dante Spapan has gained the position. Apologies, I was trying to send the announcement there. So Dante Spapan is now in first position. Lance Simmons in second. Very close racing indeed. So now Lance has got the benefit of having a slipstream down the straight with Flo Maito on his tail. Can Dante Spapan keep his first position, or will he? Yes, he will. And it seems like, oh, a little bit of a collision there between Flo Maito and Lance Simmons. Not an issue. They both kept it on the track. Could possibly be a little bit of an error. And Darren seems to have gained a position from Cruel Asteroid, which has returned to pits. I'm unsure of how much fuel people have left, but Cruel Asteroid has unfortunately retired to the pits. So I'm unsure of what's actually happening there between them there. But let's go back to Flo Maito and Lance Simmons. As someone got... What happened there? So you had a collision. I'm not sure by who. Something happened. I'm guessing that was George and Alex. Considering they both lost a position. Alex lost a position. That could have been crucial. Dante Spapan also lost another place to Flo Maito there. Here we go. So, Cruel Asteroid is now leaving the pits once again. For some odd reason. So he must have required fuel. He must have forgotten to set his fuel setup. As he comes into the first corner in 10th position. So he has lost 6 positions from that. NS, Nando, Testori, Halsey, and Antonio have all gained a position, and Darren as well, as Darren makes his way past Victor Bosniak on the straight. Excellent racing by far. Not had any turn 1 accidents, which is nice to see. Apologies for my poor spelling there. However, I was just announcing to our drivers that they must pit. Otherwise, they will be facing penalties. And Flo Mito goes extremely wide through there. Max in that LMP2 joining back onto the racing line. And Gabriel Churgan seems to have disconnected. That's unfortunate for him. What happened there? Jensen Goldstein off in that Aston Martin there. Unsure of the happenings there. Supernova has spun. Luckily keeping it off the racing line. Will he rejoin? Yes, he will. Anyways, and he seems to be having a little bit of an issue keeping it on track, which makes me speculate that he has suspension damage. Now, suspension damage, and he looks to be on controller too, so suspension damage on a controller is bad news, especially when you don't have force feedback of a wheel. Cut the pit lane, back onto the track. Very interesting racing from him. I'm unsure of what actually is happening there. As Dante Spapen makes his way past Max in that LMP2, can he get second back? Now we have Testori Tiberio. Definitely a well-known driver, well-known fast driver. Is he able to make any positions up? Because he is quite far behind Halsey there in that Mustang. The Mustang is extremely fast, by the way. So the Mustang is one of the fastest in the class, in the GT3 class, which is something we may have to change in future. As an 8% power restriction was given, but it doesn't seem to be enough for Halsey, as he goes 28 seconds in front of Testori there. So my apologies, 18 seconds behind, 18 seconds in front of Testori there. Antonio Benitez as he goes past Victor Bosniak in that 296 GT3. Let's have a look at some of our drivers' damage. So, do any of our drivers oh, and he locks up. Goes a little bit wide, not an issue. He's kept it on the track. So, it appears none of our drivers have suspension damage as yet. That could possibly change in the future. I know Supernova must. No, that's surprising. So it appears none of our drivers have suspension damage, which is always nice because they would have to wait in the pits for quite a while to get that fixed. Flo Mito on Lance Simmons' tail. Lance Simmons is a very quick driver, as we saw in the mini-series. That final battle between George, Lance, and Kasper Mosiniak in the final lap at Oschersleben a couple of weeks ago, we saw that Lance Simmons has proven to be an extremely quick driver. Thank you for that, Honda Civic. Has proven to be a very fast driver, and we've seen that yet again today, as Dante Spapen is 3.8 seconds behind Flo Maito. Not bad at all, especially when it comes to LMP2s, as they are very easy to lose time. As we watch Supernova in the LMP2 again, we must... I must do something. If he causes another collision, I may have to do something about it. Because this is unacceptable. We shall see if Dimitar is unable... If Dimitar is able to get close enough by the time he actually is caught... Oh, it appears we have a position change. So Cruel Asteroid has made his way back up from 10th to 6th in that LMP2 as he's gone to the pits. Very dangerous driver indeed. That was extremely dangerous. Supernova. Oh, and he killed him! Supernova. Okay, I think Supernova may have to get black flagged for that. That was totally unacceptable. That was totally unacceptable. Does he have any suspended damage? No, he does not. He has 52 right damage. That is so unfortunate. I'm going to have to do something about that. That is completely unacceptable. Dibidot parks on the apex. My goodness. No, not the apex. Sorry, the optimal line through that corner. That was slightly dangerous from him. But yeah, Supernova. I may have to black flag them for that. That is ridiculous. That's probably the worst driving we've ever seen, especially in this league. And he almost caused another collision with Cruel Asteroid. That's the second time that's happened. That was totally intentional as well, I think. Unless they locked up, which I can only imagine that would be the case, but... I shall send them a warning. And they shall get further punishment as the race finishes. Now, is that another accident we've just seen? No, what happened there? What happened there? Supernova. Going wide constantly. As Dante's Papen in third position comes behind Supernova. Will he be let past? No, as Supernova goes quite wide on that corner, as always. Tries to take out Dante's Papen there. I shall do something about that now. And we have sent an announcement to Supernova there. As they almost cause another collision through Testori Tiberio. That's got to be disqualification, surely. That is totally unacceptable. And he's taken him out. Okay, I'm fairly sure that calls for a black flag. I shall give him that in a second. And we see, apologies for that, we see another battle, very close battle between Flo Mito and Lance Simmons. As Lance Simmons seems to have gone down a position, which means that Flo Mito is in first. That's interesting. Okay. I shall quickly have another look at Supernova and their driving, and I shall black flag them accordingly. They have one more chance. What on earth happened there? Did Iconic get sent? Let's find out in the stream. Let's find out here. Did he get sent? Yes, okay. Right, you're getting black flagged. And black. Did it work? I think it must have worked. Okay. Oh, my apologies. I'm trying to sort this penalty out with this guy. So his name is Super Z Nova. Still not black flagged though. Anyway, let's get back to the more important part, the racing. As I managed to figure that out further on. Let's see, Flo Mito in first with Lance Simmons right on his tail, especially after that overtake that must have been interesting. Dantes Papen in third, Darren Egan in fourth, Antonio Benitez in fifth, Cruz Asteroid in sixth, Halsey in seventh. This is the start of the GT3 class. Story Tiberio in eighth, Nando Norris in ninth, Max in 10th, Noah Throne in 11th, NSG Men in 12th, George Given in 13th, Alex Depine 14th, Victor Bosniak in 15th, and Supernova in 16th. We may have to do something about that though, because that's completely unacceptable what happened with them. And we'll penalise accordingly. Now the gap between Lance and Flo is getting a little bit closer, as George Given and Alex Depine are lapped. Apologies about the game sound, I'm not sure what's happening. That's a bit loud, okay. Apologies for that. That was a jump scare for me too. That's a bit loud, okay. Apologies for that. That was a jump scare for me too. Okay, so that should be it for the audio settings. Excellent, okay. Yeah, I added the engine sound. Yeah, a lot of people are crashing. I can't look at all of the, and as we see that George Given and Alex Tapai are fighting. This should be an interesting fight, especially considering George's championship win. Championship podium last season. As Alex Tapai keeps it on the inside, maintains a very close gap, and he goes for down the inside, but yeah, doesn't have enough speed to carry it through. Will he be able to use that side draft for an efficiency? And yes, he will. The Mustang is faster on the straights anyway, which would give him an advantage overall. 13 drivers watching the stream. We appreciate you watching. And he makes it through the inside. With that extra speed, I think helped him carry through with that extremely large amount of damage. But the BMW seems to be far superior in the corners, as we've seen previously. Dimitar and Supernova. Supernova having an issue. Supernova taking Max off. Cutting across the track when a car is coming. Oh my goodness. What is this guy doing? Oh my goodness. That was a bit close as well. As Noah maintains his racing line as Dante Spapen goes past. Getting slightly closer to Lance Simmons in that LMP2. And we should be getting that penalty being issued to Supernova soon. As they continue their erratic movements across the track. And they appear to be rejoining the track now. Okay, so let me just do this quickly. That is awful driving. ACP list, let me just... As we have 1 minute and 6 seconds after... My goodness, what is he doing? Okay, I'm gonna get this guy black flagged before anything bad happens, because this is ridiculous. This is purely ridiculous. cutting the chicane completely does not give you anything. In fact, my apologies. Just having a chat now with some drivers that are not racing, getting their opinions. Yeah, I'm looking into it now. I shall give him a ban very shortly. Just trying to find the way I can do that. I shall check now. Appears Victor Bosniak is making his way up. George Given maintaining 13th, and the rest of our drivers keeping it together nicely. So, okay, just finding the is that Lance Simmons? Lance Simmons is gaining on Flo Maito. This could be interesting. Can we see another overtake? Let's find out. Position 20%, grid ID 24. Okay. Flo Maito maintaining that first as he goes slightly wide through there. So, admin panel. And they're in peds anyway. Okay. I guess I left it too long. Moving on, we can now focus back on the race. Lance Simmons in second, Flo Maito in first. Still fighting for that position as Dante creeps behind them, slowly losing some time unfortunately, but his pit strategy may be different to others. Just giving our drivers a reminder to pit. Supernova disconnected. Okay. That was terrible driving from Jensen. Oh, let's have a look here. Nando Norris in 9th, so he's now lapped by Nando Norris. As Nando Norris goes, oh my goodness. That was very close. Interesting. Victor Bosniak back up in 15th as Max has overtaken him. But Cruel Asteroid makes his way through, is now in 5th position. So after that pit stop, he was 10th. He has made his way back down to 5th, even after being hit by Supernova. Anyways, gap between our top 2 is getting longer and shorter as we speak. Lance just needs that little mistake by Flo there, and fast could be his. Dante also needs one of the 2 to make a mistake so he can gain 2nd. Victor Bosniak fighting with Max in the LMP2. Something strange, something we've never seen before. This is extremely interesting. So it appears Noah has pitted. George has also gone into pits. So Noah has done his mandatory pit stop, I believe. Which should put him quite far up. Let's see here. So NS Tumen has, and NS Tumen and Alex Tapai have gained a position as Noah Ferone makes his pit stop. Victor Bosniak still in 14th. George Given in 15th. So George Given has done a pit stop and has taken a little bit longer than Noah, which means that Noah could have possibly not switched tyres. Noah's gone off. Calls for a yellow flag as he rolls back onto the track, almost hitting Dante Spapen there. That was extremely close. Alex Tapai has also spun, it seems. NS Tumen has got 10th position after that little accident there. Flo Maito is in fast as Lance has not made a mistake. So I'm guessing Flo has gone off and Lance has gotten a little bit closer. So he is 4/10. What happened there? Was that Alex Tapai? Yes, I think it was. Unless it was Iconic. I think it was Iconic in that amazingly gorgeous gold Porsche. As he waits to regain the track like a civilized driver. The gap between Lance and Flo isn't getting any smaller. Lance is in Flo's slipstream distance, which could possibly mean that he has a speed advantage through the majority of the track here. Dante still in 3rd, but 3rd is still good enough. In the pace he's going, he might be waiting for the top 2 to pit, unless he's pitted already, which I could not imagine happened. Dante Spapen still in 3rd. Maintaining no bad damage. Jensen Goldstein in 18th. Apologies for that, I'm back. I just had to grab a drink of water. What's changed? Let's see. So Alex Tapai has lost 4 positions. So I can only imagine he is spun out on a big part of the track. That could be the factor that caused him actually to be like this, unfortunately. But still has 47 minutes to make his make his time up. Okay, so Casper asks, Casper Masiniak, that in fact is not racing today, asks if there is a pit window, and the pit window is first. You can pit any time apart from first or last lap. So the drivers will have to maintain a big enough gap, do not be overtaken, and then they could possibly pit. Pitting takes about 20 seconds, I believe, with tries included. I'm not sure how exactly true my statement is, however, the drivers need to make a big enough gap to overtake, so my apologies, to make have enough time for a pit stop and still come out on top. Nice George in that McDonald's delivery. Makes his way through. And Lance Simmons has taken first. Apologies for that. We've seen some interesting things this race, but Lance Simmons and Flo Maito fighting for first was not on the agenda. Let's see if anything changes, because there's under a second, a little bit over a second now, between them, which could change everything. Especially how, considering Dante Spapan is only 20 seconds now behind them. So 28 laps in. 20, yeah, so almost lap 29. The positions are Lance, Flo, Dante, Darren, Cruel Asteroid, Antonio Benitez, Halsey, Testori, Nando Norris, MSG Men, Max, Noah Ferrone, Victor Bosniak, George Given, Alex Tapai, Dimitar Dimitov, Iconic, and Jensen Goldstein. As Lance goes in for his pit stop, Flo gets back on top, but at what cost? Could that cost Flo's race, as he may have to pit later on, or has Lance made the right move by pitting now? Unfortunately, half of the grid have not made it, so from P20 to P30 have not made it, but we've had the majority of the grid, which is always nice to see, especially in races like these where grids mean everything, especially when there's two classes that are fighting. Next week we have our F3 race at Silverstone. Don't forget to miss that. Don't forget to not miss that one. And it should be an interesting race, depending on if I'm available or not. Could mean everything. Could possibly have one of our other fellow members commentate the race. I believe he is in chat now. I'll have to have a chat with him, and we could, let's see if we are able to sort out a... Was that George? No, that was not George. That was, I believe, Dimitar. Yes, it was, leaving the pits. Lots of pitting. None of our drivers suffering major damage. Testori trying to get past Jensen. As he has that's not Jensen, is it? No, that's not. Interesting. Who was that then? Noah Ferrone, I believe. Yes, it was. Noah Ferrone in that Aston Martin, doing some strange things. But can't wait for Season 2 to get underway. First round at Valencia, I think. Valencia Ricardo Tormo. January next year, so we come back after New Year, and a week after New Year is the first round of the season. Should hopefully see some interesting grids there, as could possibly mean that we get full grids. Always nice to hope, though. Halsey in the Mustang having a little battle with Noah, as 8th has lapped 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th. So all the way up from P9 to P8 to 18 have been lapped. Interesting. Oh, sorry, P10 to P18. Had some interesting racing thus far, as we go on board with Halsey in that Mustang there, one of our fastest. Look at that interior view, as they take this part of the track with precision every single time. So, as we see the Mustang here, absolutely carried the chariot today. As Testori Tiberio is in front of Halsey, which could only mean that Halsey is pitted. To have a look on board of Testori here in that BMW M4 and that Valentino Rossi livery. Lap 32 now. Using all of that curb. What an excellent piece of driving that is. Maintains the main part of that corner through the inside, keeping it together as he jumps the chicanes, practically jumps them. That should be called in for some investigation after the race. Cutting the chicane is unacceptable, regardless of legality or not. As an LMP2 goes by, that is Cruel Asteroid. Let's see how he takes this final corner here. It's through the inside. Oh, yes. Excellent driving. On to Flo now. And Testori goes to pit. So Testori now needs to pit. And gets overtaken once again by Halsey in that Mustang GT3. Enjoyed the lead while it lasted, obviously. Anyhow, some of our most excellent driving from our drivers today as Testori's in the pits, is about to leave the pits. He leaves the pits now. Let's see who we can spot coming down the straight. That is Darren in that LMP2, followed by Lance, I believe. Yes. And then right around the bend, we have... Oh, who's this? Yes, Nando Norris, followed by Dimitar. Someone's having a little bit of an issue in the pits. Oh, that's me. See who we can see going down the final corner. There's an cruel asteroid, sorry. See, lovely angle. Who's that? I think that was Antonio Benitez, Halsey, Max. It's in the LMP2 there. There's Noah Ferrone. Here we are. Dante Spapen in second position, in front of Lance Simmons and Darren Egan. So he had obviously has not pit. Well, I can only imagine. That would not be the case. Let me just see. Can I turn on? Yes, I can. Not sure whether. Put speed on. Yeah, so that's better. You can see who now who is who. Okay, so Dante Spapen in first position. Darren Egan is on his tail. 40-second gap. I'm unaware if Dante Spapen has pitted or not. Should be an interesting one when it comes to it. But for now, we get to see Dante Spapen on that top seat. As Max goes off to avoid hitting Iconic. Smart move by him. Could have some damage. No damage. Lucky for him. Dante goes down the outside of Iconic into the final corner. Up the straight. As he may have an issue trying to overtake what seems to be Halsey. Is that Halsey? Yes. Let's have a look how easy this is for Dante. Yes, it is. He goes down the inside. Ooh, very close. So Halsey kind of has to back out of the way. Not an issue. Halsey doesn't lose much time. Halsey is over 0.4 of a lap in front of Testori Tiberio there. And, oh, Dante's having some... Oh, that's me. I'm having some ping issues. That's unfortunate. Caused my ping to be so high. Unsure of what's happening. I see, yes. Flo, good luck. Is that the driver? Is that the driver in chat? Possibly. Unsure of what's happening to my ping. It's starting to calm down a little bit as Dante Spapen goes into the pits for his pit stop. As he is under 14 seconds ahead of Darren Egan as he goes into the pits. Let's have a look where that puts him. So we wait for his pit stop to finish. He's back in the pit box. Lovely pits by him. I think my ping went a little bit high. I apologise. My ping is still rather high, but it doesn't really matter since I'm not racing. There we go, NSG men. hit by car revving because of my arrow key. Let's see how we have Testori Tiberio in that number 46 BMW, Team WRT, my favourite team in WAC. And what's going on here? Oh! Collision between Dante Spapan and Iconic as he goes slightly slower down through there. As Lance Simmons goes through the inside of Dante Spapan, taking advantage of the situation as Flo is up into first. This is absolute carnage. As Flo manages to keep it in first. My apologies, as we see Lance going past what seems to be the remains of Noah. Yeah, that was Noah. As Dante is right behind Noah. Noah parked on the pit lane. I'm unsure of what happened there. Could possibly give him a penalty. So the amount of LMP2s, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... and I believe 7, yes. Is there an 8th one? I don't think so. There is 7 LMP2s. There was 8 that started off, but one of them was black flagged due to erratic driving, but surrendered by themselves, I think. Anyhow, we have Dante Spapan a little bit behind Lance here, but there's over half an hour left. As Lance is catching up with Flo. Let's see how that goes for him. As we go on the onboard, on the wheel cam. One of my most favourite favourite cameras of the game. So he goes a little bit wide through there, not an issue, not track limits as far as I'm aware. Keeps it together very nicely, very consistent throughout. G3 cars making it slightly difficult for them, but it's not an issue, as we haven't had any major accidents thus far, touch wood. But it appears that Lance is catching Flo, which I believe have both pitted. So has Dante Spapan. Dante Spapan has also pitted, which gives him the benefit of pit advantage, I think, depending on if Lance and Flo have pitted yet. Yes, Flo on board. Yes, we can have that. Let's have a look here. So we have in first person here, Flo in first person as he goes past Victor Bosniak, or attempts to, as Victor Bosniak goes rather wide and goes onto the grass, as we see a little bit of unsurety from Lance Simmons. As he is constantly seeking traffic. Oh, and that could have been bad, but Dimitar seemed to have handled it nicely. Behind Jensen Goldstein now. This is going to be interesting. And he goes past without an issue. Flo's an excellent driver, especially when it comes to these LMP2s. Using all of that track, Jesus. Lovely driving by him, by far. Excellent driving. Used all of the track without going off. Let's have a look at the first corner. Let's have a look here. As Lance, there's Dante. Jensen goes quite deep. Dimitrov and Halsey. As Halsey goes past. Here we are, Victor Bosniak. have a lot of people. Well, we have somebody in chat rooting for Flo, which is always nice to see. It appears that there is about 10 laps of the race. Well, approximately 15 laps of the race left. Which means anything can happen. Oh. Oh dear. Is that Alex DePie that went off? Yes. Unfortunate for him. Didn't lose any positions though. His tyres might be a little bit toasty after that spin. But he keeps it together. He's gone to the outside of the long straight. See this? And all of that. Yes. See Halsey using all of the outside. Jensen using all of the outside. Halsey having an absolute benefit. I think you can join back if you'd like. Snowy, you are the driver, right? I'm not sure if that's you, but... Yeah, Halsey is the first in GT3 currently. So Lance is catching up to Flo still. And he goes for the dive, but backs out last moment. That could cost him a little bit of time, but not to worry. Still very, very much on his tail. Use all of that outside track, lovely. Down to turn 2, I believe, or turn 3. One of the most deciding factors on speed, especially on this downhill part. That curb there was slightly lethal, especially if you hit it on the wrong angle. Oh, and he locks up, but manages to keep it together. What a save by Lance, honestly. What an excellent bit of saving. Lost a bit of time, but managed to keep his race in the competition. As we see Max again, hopefully it does not impede him. As he goes slightly wide, that's good for him. Not very good for Flo, as he improves slightly on time. Still maintaining a slightly closer gap to Flo. as Iconic is apparently in traffic. Very close collision. Collision avoided there though. Let's have a look on how George Given is doing. As Dante's Papen goes down the inside, absolutely flying through. As Iconic is also in the traffic. Dante's Papen down the inside, not even a sweat broken there. Dante's Papen, he's going to try and go back to get that from him. Let's have a look here. So let's have a look at the interval. I'm not sure what most of this stuff does, but let's have a look at this. Here we are, much more. You can see that better actually, yes. Okay. So by far, best average speed was for Dante's Papen with the 183. So Dante's Papen is sanding it through the corners, but slowly goes down. 232 from Cruel Asteroid. The driver seems to be back too, as he leaves the pits in his Porsche. Let's have a look at his onboard. Let's see how he does. Trying to warm those tyres up. It's going to be slightly slippery for him, as we see here. Lovely exhaust sound from that. Have a listen to this. Lovely stuff. Flo is being chased by Lance. Lance is right on his tail. He is not backing up though. He has a little bit more exit speed, but is unable to dive down the inside because of the position in which he braked. But very close little rear end, a little tap there, not an issue. As Flo goes a little bit through over the chicane, but not an issue, wasn't his fault. As they both go past Noah Throne in P10 in that Aston. Another little nudge, almost goes down the inside. Lance is tapped a little bit there, saves it. Lost a little bit of time. Lance must be able to gain some kind of time. There's Tistori Tiberio in 8th in that BMW M4, as we've seen. Second in class behind Halsey in that Mustang GT3. As we see the driver in 19th, accidentally nudging Dimitar there. As Lance goes down the outside and gets first position. Now, how long is this going to last? Flo is also right on his tail. Who has the most optimal braking points in turn 1? Let's find out. Flo goes down the inside, backs out last moment, locks up a little bit. Goes a little bit wide, keeps it. Is Flo going to go on the outside? Interesting. So Flo unfortunately is losing time a little bit here, but the fight is not over. There is still 18 minutes left. Oh, approximately 6. How many laps? 12 laps? No. Yeah, approximately 12 laps left. Meaning anything can happen. Hopefully see some position changes too. As Lance successfully makes his way through here. Oh, that was very close. Was that iconic? Iconic, almost losing it. Loses it, unfortunately. Narrowly misses the break. Now it misses the racing line there. Anyone coming behind? No, he is safe. Excellent livery. Let's have a look at Alex DePie pitting. Having that pit. Lovely. See who else? Dimitar. Done decent this race. Kept it out of last. Good for him. Iconic, unfortunately, 17th. Lance still in first as he overtakes Victor Bosniak going through there. Without a problem. Flo may have an issue. Alex Tapai, unfortunately, disconnecting. That he could have possibly been the one that spun out. In fact, no, he was in the pits. Unfortunate. Here we have Lance again. Dante's Papen only 4.7 seconds behind him. Split decision with Antonio Benitez in the LMP2. Number 30. Dance Pippin goes down the outside as he lets him through. Good for him. Only 4 seconds between him and Flo here, between Dante and Flo. Dante could possibly do something here. If he keeps it together for the next 10-15 minutes, he could possibly make a move on Flo, which could be excellent. It could be interesting to see whether he can make it or not, and how much better tyres he has compared to Flo, because Flo may or may not have pitted earlier, which could have cost Flo degraded performance in the long run, which not good for him, but good for Dante. Dante is catching up slowly. Unfortunately, 8 seconds behind now. Could possibly being held up by Nando Norris. Not Lando Norris. Not Lando Norris. Nando Norris. In that BMW M4 GT3. Depending on whether he was impeded there or not, can tell us. Oh, and he goes off! Who's that? Is that Lance Simmons? Lance Simmons in the LMP2 goes off, pulls out in front of Dante Spapen and spins, causes him to spin. That's got to be a penalty for Lance Simmons there. That's incredibly unfortunate. We may have to give Lance a penalty in the race here for that. That was... or require him to give that position back, because he pulled out directly in front of him there. Unfortunate though. Incredible. So we have to put that under investigation. Oh dear. My ping has spiked again. Are we back? Ping seems to be dropping down. Yes, okay, we should be back. Let's have a look at our gaps here. So we have not many major overtaking. So that should give Lance Simmons a 5-second penalty there for cutting in front of Dante as he went down the last corner and caused an accident. As Lance Simmons goes past Dimitrov there. See, with 16.5 minutes left of the race. Let's have a look at what number Lance was. Let's see. ID 50, okay. So 15. So he should have been given a penalty on his final time now. Okay, so as he catches up to Flo here, we see an interesting part of that. Final 8 minutes of the race here. So Lance has gained fast. But he's got to make a 5-second lead if he wants to take that first. Otherwise, that will be Flo's if Flo stays in second. There's a slight gap between Flo and Lance. See how he does, yeah, by keeping Flo away. Remember, he's got to make up 5 seconds in the next 6 minutes, otherwise he will not be securing first. Oh my goodness, what happened there? Stuck behind the driver. Flo would have lost a little bit of time there, arguably. Dante's Papen still chilling. See how our 3 drivers are doing here. See how Flo does with a Cruel Asteroid. Mind you, Cruel Asteroid is a lapped car, meaning that there is no real gain in fighting here. And he goes to the inside, my apologies, and can he keep it? Wouldn't really matter, no. So he backs out, smart enough for him. Goes a little bit wide, but who's that? No, Flo is still. So I think Flo went a little bit wide. Unfortunate for him. That means he is over. Couple of seconds now. Behind Lance. That could be a big game changer, considering the penalty he's got on his head. Oh my goodness, that was close. Iconic almost rejoined the track, right in front of Cool Asteroid, but backed out last moment. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left now. Can Flo get any closer? Or will Lance go further? Let's find out. Dante's fight for first for second was unfortunately eradicated as they had that little collision on turn, the final corner going onto the main straight here. And that was an unsafe rejoin from Lance Simmons. Wanting to get back into the action, which may or may not have cost him first position here. Flo must keep the gap within 5 seconds if he'd like to take first. And that's a big ask, I know, but he has a chance of doing it. Especially when there's GT3 traffic stopping him. Cool Asteroid will also be able to get past Jensen Goldstein there. Or will he be caught up in the fight here? Jensen lets him past, not a problem. Still under 4 seconds. Cruel Asteroid is also gone, which means that he won't be held up by any cars here. Testori Tiberio is back. We've seen him a few laps ago, as he made a somewhat legal but difficult manner of letting the LMP2s past. As the LMP2 of Flo Maito goes on the outside, as Testori follows on his tail. Not an issue though. As we go into the penultimate lap here before the end. It's going to be very close to see whether Lance can or cannot set another lap before the timer goes to 0. This is going to be a matter for the race. Lap 56. As he goes through the chicane, manages to keep it semi-legal. Goes a little bit wide. Not an issue. Could possibly get as a time penalty, a track cut, but let's see. Lance Simmons, very close here. It appears he is going to set another lap before the timer hits 0. Not by a lot though. Just by a few seconds by the looks of it. 13, 12, 11, 10. Yeah, so 12 seconds for the final lap. So this will be the final lap here. As Nando Norris is the next lap car as he locks up. Will he make it easy for Lance to go past? Yes, very. As Lance manages to keep it together for the most part. And my ping is going high again. We couldn't have this on the last lap, please. No, game, please do not. Not an issue, we still managed to keep it quite low. You can still see what's happening. Please do not go any higher. Okay. Lance Simmons in first still. What happened there? My goodness. So that means Flo is very much far behind Lance there. Depending on the amount of track cut penalties these drivers get, will determine who gets first, second and third. Now Dante Spapen I don't think has cut at all. But I could be proven wrong. There will be no driver interviews today as I have to get on with the penalties and stuff. But here we go, last lap. Here we go across the line. Lance Simmons wins the OAC pre-season race at Hungaroring. What an excellent bit of racing from him. A couple of hiccups here and there, but excellent bit of racing from him as our drivers come down into the final straight here. With some drivers being 11 laps behind. Make sure to... penalties are still locked for 30-something seconds. Unsure of why the replay is only 1 minute and 35 seconds. Rather strange. It appears that there is a limit set. I will have to get a replay from someone else. But here we have Lance Simmons, the race winner, and Flo having a bit of intimate time. And it appears Jensen is watching and is not amused. What an interesting bit of racing. Here we have Iconic in that Porsche. Looking rather dirty, might need a wash after this race. Final lap for our drivers here. Let's see who still has to make it through. So George, Given and Noah go side by side down the final straight. Finally, our final drivers here coming through. What an excellent bit of racing. Yeah, so there will unfortunately be no driver interviews tonight, as the race is not an official race through the season, and the penalties must be looked at quite sharpish. So thank you for everyone who tuned into the stream today. It's nice having you here. Nice peak viewer count as well. We had a little bit of a hiccup at the start, but nothing too major. We still made it in time before the race. Now, next race we have F3 next week at Silverstone. Possibly tune in for that, depending on if we have a stream or not, because I am not available as a broadcaster. We may have someone else broadcasting it, but that's only if they're available. So, as I say that, thank you everybody for tuning in, and